Well, folks, how's it going? Um, right, I did a video. Oh, I don't know how long ago, months, um, talking about this trailer for the film called Underwater. I think in my head, the title of the video was "The Underwater Movie is apparently really Lovecraftian." I've watched it, and I've got to tell you, it is. There's a real little treat at the end. I mean, you may have read about it already, and I'll tell you about it in a bit. But I'll make sure to let you know to turn off if you don't want to know the big reveal at the end. Um, I won't do a long video. I'll just do a quick run through of it. Um, but I did like it. I liked it a lot. Basically, it's the story of this underwater drilling station in the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean. Anyway, the story kicks into gear like instantly. You just literally the first couple of minutes it shows you this girl sort of down in the drilling station. So she looks a bit somber and she's obviously pondering a lot of stuff and thinking about stuff. And you don't have time to really to dwell on any of that because literally a few minutes in, the base, the drilling base, just like collapses. The walls cave in and the pressure depressurized and the drilling station is kaput. The girl escapes. She runs for it. A couple of other people run for it, and she closes the door and they're safe. But what they find a few other survivors along the way. Blah 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 blah. But the basic story is they have to walk from the drilling station that is almost entirely destroyed to another station that's like I don't know if it's a mile away across the ocean floor, and they have to try and get there by walking. But what they discover when they're out there is these fishy humanoid type monsters that are attacking them. And they don't know what's going on and blah, 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 blah. It's a basic story. That's it. The basics of the story. So, yeah, it's a good film. It's very good. I'm going to give the spoiler away now, though. Okay, so anyone that don't want to know the spoiler, the very, very Lovecraftian spoiler, yeah, turn off now. So anyway, pardon me. They get to the research, the other base that's a mile away, and just as they're getting there, after avoiding all these fishy things, fishy monsters, whatever, blah blah blah, they're almost there, and they've got all these monsters now are like hanging from sort of like it seems like a rocky sort of ceiling cove like arch thing. They're hanging, and they've got to go through these things to get to the research base, the drilling base, and they're trying to make it through without touching their they're hanging down like with their heads hanging down from their I was going to say feet then, but probably flipping fins, tails, whatever, and they have to get through in their big underwater suits. So they're trying to make it through, just dodging them. It's very nerve wracking, and they're dodging through. And at one moment, one of the characters accidentally touches one of these fishy creatures, and it starts like wakes up and it starts going mental, trying to get her. And then the reveal. Suddenly, this column, this archway cave column thing, whatever they were attached to, like hanging from, lifts up into the air. Well, not into the air because they're underwater, dim light, but lifts up above them, way above them, and you realise it's part of a huge underwater monster, which is confirmed by the director is Cthulhu. How mental is that? How mental is that? And yeah, it's been confirmed by the director, and it's Cthulhu, and you see him in all his glory. It's massive, and anyway, the story. She gets to the research. Make it to the station, get in, set off some life support things. They off to the surface. There's 3 of them and 3 characters, three life, bubble things, whatever they are, like little pods. 3 of them and 3 characters, but one of them doesn't work, and the main girl in the story sets the other 2 characters off free, and she's obviously doomed to stay down there. And as she notices on the computer, on the radar thing, that these little creatures are now following after the life pods. So she sets off the nuclear core reactor of the base or something, and explodes. And destroys them before they can reach her friends that she's set free. And that's basically it. And you see Cthulhu. Can't believe how much he's saying it. He's in a film. He's in a proper film. But you see him get blown away or whatever. But anyway, so that's the story. But the most interesting part is listening to what the director actually said. Now, you can hear this on Mr. H's channel, Mr. H Reviews. I've mentioned Mr. H's channel a lot in the past. I love some of his stuff, and he's so into Lovecraft, so I'm always glued to his notification to see what he's got coming up next. But he did like an hour's talk, I think it was, with the director. I think his name's William Eubank. And he literally came out and said, this is Cthulhu. He did it stealthily, though. The makers of the film, or the studio, wanted a big monster in it, or did he pitch the idea of that? Anyway, he had to come up with the design of this creature. The studio didn't really have a preference for what it looked like, I think he said. So he literally, and it was at the beginning, this wasn't going to be Cthulhu or a Lovecraftian movie particularly. But once he started working on the film, and he knew he had to create this monster, design it, and that, he was like, I'm going to do Cthulhu. I'm just going to do it, and not say anything to the studio, and say this is the creature. And then once the film's out, come out and say, yeah, this is Cthulhu. It's great, isn't it, how he sneakily has done it, but I love it. Because you never know, these stupid studios, they may have said no to that if he'd have pitched the idea to him out in the open. Pardon me. But I think it's great. I think it's great how he did it. And I would love, I don't think there will be a sequel, because I'm not sure the film did that well in the cinema. But, to be honest, it wasn't advertised very well. It didn't get a hell of a lot of attention. And to be honest, the name sounds a bit boring as well. So it didn't. I don't think it did too. I'll have to check that actually. I don't think it did too well at the cinema. But I would love. I know there probably won't be, but I would love to see a sequel or something. Because the earlier on in the film, you hear these like earthquake type things. It sort of sets like a little sets a seed in the mind of like, what is that? Like earlier on in the film, there's these little, and you think it's just an earthquake or something, or something, I don't know. But then you realise, you're like, wow, it wasn't an earthquake. It was Cthulhu fumbling around. But yeah, how fantastic would it be if we now got a sequel and Cthulhu has awakened, you know what I mean? Down in the Mariana Trench, where Riley, however you say it, where that is. That's his underwater kingdom. He's now he's awoken, and he's going to come to the surface, and he's going to do what Cthulhu does. But yeah, I think that would be. Oh, I'd love to see that. I really would. So yeah. Anyway, UnderWater, good film, fantastic Lovecraft twist at the end. Something that anyone that's into Lovecraft has got to see. Finally, on film. Or on digital, in a proper film, horror film, fairly decent budget, we have Cthulhu in all his glory for there to see. So yeah, go and check it out as soon as you can, I'd say. And I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Cheerio for now.